The rain fell like bullets against the pavement that November night in Boston. Emily Carter stood in the doorway of an abandoned building, watching the city blur through sheets of water. Her clothes were soaked, her hair plastered to her face, and in her trembling hands, she held a photograph, the only thing left from her old life. It showed a younger version of herself, smiling at a college graduation, her mother's arm around her shoulders. That girl had dreams. That girl believed hard work and good intentions were enough. That girl was gone. Emily was 34 years old, and she had been homeless for exactly 127 days. She knew the number because she counted each one, marking them like a prisoner counting days until freedom. Except she didn't know when or if freedom would come. Behind her, in the shadows of the abandoned building, she could hear the sounds of others like her. Coughing, whispered conversations, the rustle of cardboard being arranged into makeshift beds. This was her community now, the invisible people, the ones the city walked past without seeing. She closed her eyes and made herself a promise. If I survive this, I will make sure no one else has to feel this invisible. She didn't know it then, but that promise would change everything. 6 months earlier, Emily's biggest worry was whether she should get the caramel macchiato or the vanilla latte. She stood in line at Harbor Grounds coffee shop, the same shop she'd visited every morning for 5 years. The barista, a young woman named Jess with pink streaks in her hair, already had her order ready. 1 medium caramel macchiato, extra shot, Jess said with a smile. You know me too well, Emily laughed, handing over her card. 5 years of the same order will do that, Jess replied. Have a good day at work. Emily walked the 6 blocks to her office at Aldridge Financial Services, where she worked as a senior account coordinator. The morning was crisp and beautiful, the kind of spring day that made you grateful to be alive. She passed the same homeless man who always sat near the subway entrance, his cardboard sign reading, "Veteran, anything helps." She dropped a $5 bill into his cup, the same thing she did every Tuesday. God bless you, miss, he said, his voice rough but sincere. You too, Emily replied, never breaking stride. She had no idea that in less than 6 months, she would be the one holding the sign. At the office, Emily settled into her cubicle, surrounded by photos of friends, motivational quotes, and a small plant she'd named Gerald. Her coworker, Marcus, poked his head over the divider. Morning, Em. Ready for the Henderson presentation? Born ready, she said, pulling up the slides she'd spent all weekend perfecting. The presentation went well. Her boss, Mr. Aldridge, even complimented her attention to detail. As she walked back to her desk, Emily felt that comfortable glow of accomplishment. Life was good, stable, predictable. That's when the email arrived. Emily clicked it open, expecting another memo about updated vacation policies or the upcoming summer picnic. Instead, she read, Dear team, due to unforeseen economic challenges and the need to restructure our operations, we regret to inform you that several positions are being eliminated, effective immediately. If you are reading this email, your position is one of those affected. You will receive 2 weeks of severance pay and information about COBRA health insurance. We thank you for your service to Aldridge Financial. Please collect your personal belongings and return all company property to HR before end of business today. Sincerely, Management. Emily read it 3 times. Her hands started shaking. Around her, she heard gasps and angry voices. Marcus appeared beside her, his face pale. "Did you get it too?" he asked. She nodded, unable to speak. 15 people lost their jobs that day. 15 people who had shown up, worked hard, and believed they were secure. Emily packed her belongings into a cardboard box. Photos, the plant, a coffee mug that said "World's Okayest Employee," and walked out of the building in a daze. She sat on a bench across the street, watching people stream in and out of the building that no longer needed her. Her phone buzzed, a text from her landlord. "Rent is due in 3 days. Please don't be late again." Emily looked at her bank account, $847.32. Her rent was $1,200. The first week, Emily was optimistic. She updated her resume, applied to 30 jobs, and told herself this was just a temporary setback. She even went on 2 interviews. Neither called back. By week 2, her optimism began to crack. She'd applied to 70 jobs now. The responses were either automated rejections or silence. Her savings dwindled to $400 as she paid for bus fare, printed resumes, and bought minimal groceries. Her landlord, Mr. Chen, knocked on her door on the 8th of the month. "Emily, rent was due a week ago." "I know, Mr. Chen. I lost my job, but I'm looking for work. Can you give me 2 more weeks?" He sighed. "I'm sorry. I've already given you extensions before. I have bills too. If you can't pay by Friday, I'll have to start eviction proceedings." Emily spent that night crying on her apartment floor, surrounded by rejection emails and empty pizza boxes. She called her mother, the only family she had left, but the number was disconnected. Her mother had moved to Arizona years ago to marry a man Emily had never met, and they'd slowly lost touch. She had no safety net, no relatives nearby, no close friends. They'd all drifted away during her years of overworking. Friday came. Emily didn't have the rent. By Wednesday, the eviction notice was taped to her door. Emily had 2 weeks to move out. She spent those weeks applying to every job imaginable: retail, food service, cleaning services, temp agencies. Nothing came through. She sold everything she could: her laptop, her TV, her jewelry, her furniture. She raised $800, which she used to pay Mr. Chen part of what she owed and to buy a cheap prepaid phone. On her last night in the apartment, Emily sat on the bare floor, looking around at the empty rooms that had been her home for 3 years. The walls still had nail holes from where her pictures had hung. The kitchen still smelled faintly of the coffee she used to make every morning. She had 2 duffel bags packed with clothes, a sleeping bag she'd bought at a thrift store, and $180 in cash. That was everything. At midnight, she locked the door one final time, left the keys in Mr. Chen's mailbox, and walked out into the Boston night. The city was quieter than she'd ever heard it. Streetlights cast long shadows. A few cars passed, their headlights sweeping across her like searchlights. Emily walked for hours, not sure where she was going. Eventually, she found herself near the waterfront, sitting on a bench, watching the harbor lights shimmer on the black water. That's when reality hit her like a punch to the chest. She was homeless. She put her head in her hands and sobbed, deep, wrenching sobs that came from a place she didn't know existed. She cried for the life she'd lost, for the future that had evaporated, for the girl in that graduation photo who'd believed the world was fair. When she finally stopped crying, the sky was beginning to lighten. Dawn was coming, and Emily realized she had a choice: give up or survive. She chose to survive. Emily quickly learned that being homeless wasn't just about not having a home. It was about not having anything: safety, dignity, privacy, or hope. She spent her first night in a 24-hour diner, nursing a single cup of coffee for 6 hours until the manager politely but firmly asked her to leave. She spent her second night in a subway station until security chased her out. By the third night, she found the overpass. It was a section of highway where the homeless gathered, a concrete underworld where the forgotten tried to survive. There were about 20 people there, ranging from teenagers to elderly men. They had shopping carts filled with belongings, cardboard boxes arranged like tiny rooms, and an unspoken code of respect. An older black man with kind eyes and a graying beard noticed Emily standing uncertainly at the edge of the encampment. "First time out here?" he asked. Emily nodded, her voice catching. I don't know where to go." "Come on," he said gently. "You can set up near me. Name's Frank." Emily. Frank showed her the ropes: where to get free meals, St. Mary's Church on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Hope Street Shelter on weekends, where the public bathrooms were, which areas to avoid at night, and how to stay warm when the temperature dropped. "Rule number 1, Frank said, you take care of yourself first, but you don't forget your humanity. We're not animals just because we live like this." Emily learned other rules too. Never leave your belongings unattended, always keep your shoes on while you sleep, and trust your instincts about people. She also learned about her new neighbors. There was Sarah, a young woman with a substance abuse problem who was trying to get clean; Miguel, a veteran with PTSD who sometimes woke up screaming; Rose, an elderly woman who'd lost everything when her husband died and the medical bills piled up; and Jamal, a teenager who'd aged out of foster care with nowhere to go. They all had stories. They'd all fallen through the cracks. The first month was the hardest. Emily's body rebelled against sleeping on concrete, eating 1 meal a day, and walking miles to find bathrooms. She lost weight. Her skin broke out. Her hair became dull and matted. But worse than the physical toll was the psychological one. Every day, thousands of people walked past her, and she became invisible. People looked through her, not at her. Mothers pulled their children closer when she passed. Store owners watched her suspiciously. She'd gone from being a working professional to being someone people feared and avoided. One afternoon, Emily was sitting outside a grocery store when she saw her former coworker, Rachel, walking out with bags of groceries. Emily almost called out to her, but then she looked down at herself. Dirty clothes, unwashed hair, the smell she couldn't escape no matter how much she tried to clean up in public restrooms. She stayed silent. Rachel walked right past her without a glance. That night, Emily cried herself to sleep, curled up in her sleeping bag under the overpass, listening to the sounds of the city that had forgotten her. Not everyone was unkind. There was Jess from Harbor Grounds, who sometimes slipped Emily free coffee and a pastry when her manager wasn't looking. There was the librarian at the Boston Public Library, who let Emily stay all day, using the computers to job search and the bathrooms to clean up, without ever making her feel unwelcome. And there was Frank, who became her guardian angel on the streets. One particularly cold night, Frank gave Emily his extra blanket. She tried to refuse, but he insisted. "I've been out here 7 years," he said. "I know how to survive the cold. You're still new. Take it." "Why are you helping me?" Emily asked. Frank smiled sadly. "Because someone helped me once, and I never forgot it. That's how we survive out here, by remembering we're human." Emily asked about Frank's story. He'd been a high school English teacher, married with 2 kids. Then his wife died in a car accident. Unable to cope, he'd started drinking, lost his job, lost his house, lost contact with his children. "I made bad choices," Frank said, "but I'm not a bad person. None of us out here are. We're just people who had bad luck or made mistakes, sometimes both." Those words stayed with Emily. She looked around at her fellow homeless people with new eyes. They weren't statistics or cautionary tales. They were humans who deserved dignity and a second chance. 3 months into homelessness, Emily hit rock bottom. It was December, and Boston was in the grip of a brutal cold snap. Temperatures dropped to 15 degrees at night. The shelter was overcrowded, turning away dozens of people every night. Emily and Frank were among those turned away. They spent that night huddled together with 6 others under the overpass, trying to share body heat. Emily could barely feel her fingers. Her teeth chattered so hard she thought they might crack. Around 3 a.m., Miguel started convulsing. He'd been drinking to stay warm, and his body was shutting down. "Someone call 911, Sarah screamed. Emily pulled out her cheap prepaid phone and dialed. The operator answered, and Emily gave their location, begging them to hurry. The ambulance arrived 15 minutes later. The paramedics worked on Miguel while everyone watched, helpless. Finally, they loaded him onto a stretcher. "Is he going to be okay?" Emily asked one of the paramedics. The woman looked at Emily with a mixture of pity and frustration. "He's hypothermic and severely intoxicated. We'll do what we can, but you people need to get inside. You're going to die out here." "We tried," Emily said, her voice breaking. "The shelter's full." The paramedic's expression softened slightly. "Try Hope Street. They sometimes make exceptions in emergencies." After the ambulance left, Frank turned to Emily. "Let's go. It's worth a try." Hope Street Shelter was a converted warehouse in South Boston, run by a no-nonsense woman named Dorothy Washington. She was in her 60s, with silver hair pulled back in a tight bun and eyes that had seen everything. When Emily and Frank arrived at 4 a.m., knocking desperately on the door, Dorothy answered in her bathrobe. "We're full," she said, but her tone wasn't unkind. "Please," Emily said, her voice shaking from both cold and desperation. "Our friend almost died tonight. We just need somewhere warm. We'll sleep on the floor. Anything." Dorothy studied them for a long moment. Then she sighed and opened the door wider. "Come on, but this is a one-time exception." The warmth inside hit Emily like a physical force. She almost cried from the relief of it. Dorothy led them to a corner of the common area, gave them blankets and pillows, and disappeared. Emily and Frank lay down on the hard floor, but to Emily, it felt like the softest bed in the world. For the first time in months, she felt safe. The next morning, Dorothy found Emily in the kitchen, having quietly started washing dishes from breakfast. "You don't have to do that," Dorothy said. "I want to," Emily replied. "You helped us last night. I want to help back." Dorothy raised an eyebrow. "Most people just take and go." "I'm not most people," Emily said quietly. Dorothy smiled. "No, I don't think you are. Tell you what, you can come back tonight, and if you're willing to help around here, you can keep coming back." Emily felt tears spring to her eyes. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," Dorothy said. "I work you hard." Emily started volunteering at Hope Street every day. She cooked, cleaned, organized donations, and helped coordinate the nightly bed assignments. In return, she had a place to sleep and 2 meals a day. But more than that, she found purpose. Working at the shelter reminded her that she was still capable, still valuable. She started really seeing the people who came through the doors, learning their names, their stories, their dreams. There was Linda, a domestic abuse survivor trying to escape her husband. Marcus, not her old coworker, but a different Marcus, a man with schizophrenia who kept losing housing because he couldn't manage his symptoms. And Keisha, a teenage mother trying to finish high school while caring for her baby. Emily helped wherever she could. She tutored Keisha in math, she helped Linda fill out restraining order paperwork, she sat with Marcus during his difficult nights, just being present. Dorothy noticed. One evening, she pulled Emily aside. "You're good at this. You have a gift for seeing people." "I know what it feels like to be invisible," Emily said. "I don't want anyone else to feel that way." "Have you thought about making this official? We could use someone like you on staff." Emily's heart leaped. "I don't have a degree in social work or—" "You have something better," Dorothy interrupted. "You have empathy and experience. I can train you in the rest." That's when Emily learned that Dorothy would pay her a small stipend, $200 a week, to work as a shelter coordinator assistant. It wasn't much, but it was everything. It was proof that she was worth something again. On a cold February morning, a young man walked into Hope Street Shelter with a camera and a notebook. He had shaggy brown hair, earnest eyes behind thick-rimmed glasses, and an awkward smile. "Hi, I'm David Chen from the Boston Herald. I'm writing a piece about homelessness in Boston. Would anyone be willing to talk to me?" Most people ignored him or gave short, guarded answers. Journalists had come before, taken their photos, told their stories, and nothing ever changed. But Emily agreed to talk to him. They sat in a quiet corner of the shelter, and David asked her standard questions. How long had she been homeless? What circumstances led to it? What did she need most? But then he asked something different. What do you want people to know about homelessness that they don't understand? Emily thought for a moment. That it can happen to anyone. 6 months ago, I had a job, an apartment, a normal life. Then one email changed everything. People think you have to make terrible choices or have serious problems to end up here. Sometimes you just have bad luck. And once you're here, it's almost impossible to get back out. It's like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. David wrote furiously. "What keeps you going?" Emily gestured around the shelter. "Them. Knowing I'm not alone. And knowing that if I give up, I'll never get to see what happens next. Maybe things get better. Maybe they don't. But I want to find out." David looked at her with something like awe. "You're remarkable." Emily laughed bitterly. "I'm just trying to survive." "No," David said. "You're doing more than that. You're helping others survive too. Dorothy told me about everything you do here." 3 weeks later, David's article appeared on the front page of the Sunday Herald. The headline read, "The Woman Who Refused to Disappear. Emily Carter's Story of Survival and Hope." The article included Emily's photo, not looking pitiful or broken, but strong and determined. The article changed everything. Within days, Emily received dozens of messages through the shelter. Some were from former colleagues expressing shock and offering help. Some were from strangers offering donations, job leads, and support. One message was from a woman named Maria Delgado, who owned a small Italian restaurant in the North End. "Dear Emily, I read your story and I cried. My own sister experienced homelessness years ago, and I know how hard it is. I'd like to offer you a position at my restaurant as a server. The pay isn't great, but it's honest work, and I can help you get back on your feet. Please call me if you're interested. Maria." Emily called that same day. They met at Maria's restaurant, Bella Notte, a cozy place with checkered tablecloths and the smell of garlic and basil in the air. Maria was a warm, heavy-set woman in her 50s, with laugh lines around her eyes and flour on her apron. "You like Italian food?" Maria asked. "I love it," Emily said. "Good. You start Monday. Lunch and dinner shifts, Thursday through Monday. And I have a small guest room above the restaurant. It's not fancy, but it's yours until you save enough for your own place." Emily couldn't speak. Tears streamed down her face. Maria pulled her into a fierce hug. Hey, no crying in my restaurant unless it's from cutting onions. You've been through enough. Now it's time to rebuild." Working at Bella Notte was hard, but good. Emily's body ached from being on her feet for 8-hour shifts, but it was the kind of ache that came from honest work, not from sleeping on concrete. She learned to balance multiple orders, to charm difficult customers, and to move through the busy kitchen without getting in the chef's way. Maria treated her like family, often sending her home with leftover pasta and fresh bread. But Emily never forgot where she came from. Every Sunday, her day off, she returned to Hope Street. She helped Dorothy with administrative work, talked to new arrivals, and organized donation drives. Frank was still there, and seeing him always grounded her. He'd become like a father figure, offering wisdom and perspective. "You're doing good, Em," he told her one Sunday. "Real good." "I wish you'd let me help you," Emily said. Frank had refused her offers to help him find work or housing. "I'm where I need to be," Frank said gently. "Not everyone's path looks the same. You found your way up. That's enough." Emily didn't agree, but she respected his choice. It happened on a Friday night in late March. Bella Notte was packed, the air filled with laughter and the clink of wine glasses. Emily was in the zone, moving smoothly between tables, when she heard the first scream. She turned to see smoke pouring from the building next door, an old apartment building that shared a wall with the restaurant. "Fire!" someone yelled. Chaos erupted. Customers ran for the exits. Maria was on the phone with 911. Emily started helping people evacuate, making sure no one was left behind. That's when she heard it, a child crying. The sound was coming from upstairs, from the apartment building. Without thinking, Emily ran toward the sound. "Emily, no!" Maria screamed, but Emily was already gone. She burst through the door connecting the restaurant to the apartments and was hit by a wall of smoke. The air was thick and hot, burning her lungs. She pulled her shirt over her nose and mouth and climbed the stairs. The crying was louder now, coming from an apartment on the second floor. The door was locked. Emily kicked it once, twice, and on the third kick, it gave way. Inside, through the smoke, she saw a small boy, maybe 6 years old, huddled under a table, coughing and terrified. "It's okay," Emily shouted over the roar of flames. "I'm going to get you out." She ran to him, grabbed him, and pulled him into her arms. He was small but solid, and he clung to her like she was the only solid thing in the world. Emily turned and ran back toward the stairs, but the flames had spread. The path was blocked. Her mind raced. There was a window at the end of the hallway. She ran toward it, the boy's face buried in her shoulder. She could barely breathe, her eyes streaming with tears from the smoke. She reached the window and smashed it with her elbow. Glass shattered outward. Below, she could see firefighters arriving, a ladder being extended toward them. "Hold on tight," she told the boy. A firefighter reached the window. "Hand him to me." Emily passed the boy to the firefighter, and then she climbed out herself, coughing violently. As they descended the ladder, she heard sirens, shouting, and somewhere in the chaos, Maria screaming her name. When they reached the ground, paramedics rushed forward. Emily collapsed onto a stretcher, her hands burned, her lungs aching, but alive. The boy's mother ran forward, sobbing, and grabbed her son into her arms. Then she turned to Emily. "You saved him. You saved my baby." Emily could barely speak, but she managed to whisper, "Is he okay?" "He's okay, because of you." As Emily was loaded into the ambulance, she looked up at the crowd that had gathered. People were staring at her, not with pity or disgust, but awe. Someone in the crowd said, "She's a hero." And for the first time in her life, Emily believed it might be true. Emily woke up in the hospital the next morning. Her hands were wrapped in bandages, an oxygen mask over her face, and every breath felt like sandpaper in her lungs. But she was alive. A nurse came in, smiling warmly. "You're awake. How are you feeling?" "Like I swallowed a campfire," Emily croaked. "That's about right. You inhaled a lot of smoke, but you're going to be fine. Your hands will heal. You were very lucky." "The boy?" "He's perfectly fine, thanks to you. His name is Carlos. His mother hasn't stopped crying and thanking God for you." Later that day, Carlos's mother, a woman named Luz, came to visit. She was small and tired-looking, with tears still streaming down her face. "I don't know how to thank you," Luz said, her voice breaking. "You risked your life for my son." "Any mother would have done the same," Emily said. "But you're not his mother. You're a stranger, and you ran into fire for him." Emily didn't know what to say to that. Luz took Emily's bandaged hand gently. "I will never forget this. Never. If you ever need anything at all, you call me." She left her phone number and a photo of Carlos, smiling and safe. The story of the fire spread quickly. David wrote another article. Former homeless woman turns hero, saves child from fire. This time, the story went viral. Local news stations wanted interviews. National outlets picked it up. Emily's face was suddenly everywhere. But Emily didn't want fame. She wanted something else. She used the attention to launch something she'd been dreaming about for months, a program called Second Sunrise. It was a job training and placement program specifically for homeless women, offering resume workshops, interview coaching, professional clothing, and mentorship. Emily partnered with local businesses, including Maria's restaurant, to create job opportunities. Donations poured in after the fire story. Within 3 months, Emily had raised $50,000. She rented a small office space, hired a part-time coordinator, and officially launched Second Sunrise. Dorothy was her first partner, referring women from Hope Street to the program. Frank volunteered to teach resume writing, despite his own situation. The first graduate of Second Sunrise was a woman named Carla, a single mother who'd been living in her car for 8 months. Through the program, she got a job as a medical assistant and found stable housing. At the graduation ceremony, just a small gathering in the office with cake and coffee, Carla stood up to speak. "A year ago, I thought my life was over," she said. "I thought I'd failed my kids and myself. But Emily showed me that rock bottom isn't the end, it's the beginning. Thank you for giving me a second chance." Emily watched, tears streaming down her face, and realized this was what she'd been searching for all along. Not success or stability for herself, but the ability to help others find their way. Over the next 2 years, Second Sunrise grew rapidly. What started as one small office expanded to 3 locations across Boston. They helped over 200 women find jobs and housing. But growth came with challenges. Emily was working 60-hour weeks, juggling fundraising, program management, and media requests. She was exhausted, running on coffee and adrenaline. Her hands, scarred from the fire, ached when she typed. She developed insomnia, her mind racing with to-do lists even at 2 a.m. One day, while meeting with a potential donor, Emily felt dizzy. The room started spinning. She excused herself, went to the bathroom, and vomited. Maria, who'd been with her for the meeting, found her on the bathroom floor. "Emily, this is too much. You're going to kill yourself." "I'm fine," Emily insisted. "You're not fine. When's the last time you took a day off?" Emily couldn't remember. Maria drove her to the doctor, who confirmed what Maria already knew. Emily was suffering from severe burnout and exhaustion. The doctor said bluntly, "Your body is shutting down. If you don't rest, you're going to end up hospitalized. Take at least 2 weeks off. No work." Emily protested, but Maria was firm. "I'm taking you to my sister's cabin in New Hampshire. You're going to rest, eat real food, and sleep. The program will survive without you for 2 weeks." Reluctantly, Emily agreed. The cabin was small and rustic, surrounded by pine trees and overlooking a quiet lake. There was no TV, no internet, just books, a fireplace, and the sound of nature. For the first 3 days, Emily couldn't relax. She paced, made lists, worried about what was happening back in Boston. But slowly, the silence began to work its magic. She started taking long walks by the lake, breathing in the clean air. She read novels she'd been meaning to read for years. She cooked simple meals and ate them slowly, tasting the food instead of inhaling it while working. One evening, sitting on the porch watching the sunset, Emily pulled out her old journal, the one she'd kept during her homeless days. She read through her old entries, reliving the fear, the hunger, the desperation. But she also saw something else: resilience, hope, and an unshakable determination to survive. She realized she'd been so focused on helping others that she'd forgotten to take care of herself. She'd been running from her past instead of accepting it as part of her story. That night, she wrote a new entry. "I've spent 2 years trying to prove I'm not that homeless woman anymore. But the truth is, I'll always be her. She's the reason I do this work. She's my strength, not my shame. It's time to stop running and accept that I am both the woman who slept under bridges and the woman who runs Second Sunrise. Both versions are me." When Emily returned to Boston, she was different, calmer, more centered. She called a staff meeting and made an announcement. She was hiring an executive director to handle day-to-day operations. She would stay involved as founder and board chair, but she needed to step back from the constant grind. Her staff was supportive, and they hired a woman named Dr. Patricia Cole, who had 20 years of experience in nonprofit management. With Patricia running operations, Emily finally had time to breathe. She started taking Sundays completely off. She reconnected with friends. She even started dating, tentatively, nervously, but hopeful. But she never stopped visiting Hope Street. Every Tuesday evening, Emily volunteered there, serving meals and talking to people who were where she'd once been. It kept her grounded, reminded her why she did this work. One Tuesday, she saw a new face, a young woman, maybe 25, sitting alone in the corner with a haunted look Emily recognized. Emily sat down beside her. "First time here?" The woman nodded, tears streaming down her face. I lost my job 3 months ago. I thought I could figure it out, but I couldn't. I have nowhere to go. What's your name? Jessica. Hi, Jessica. I'm Emily, and I know exactly how you feel. You can't possibly. I was homeless for 4 months, Emily said gently. I slept under overpasses and went days without eating. I know what it feels like to think you've lost everything. Jessica looked at her in disbelief. You? But you're... I'm someone who survived, just like you, Will. Emily spent the next hour talking to Jessica, sharing her story, and explaining the resources available. By the end of the conversation, Jessica's tears had stopped. There was a tiny spark of hope in her eyes. Do you really think I can get through this? Jessica asked. I know you can, Emily said, because if I could, anyone can. 3 years after the fire, Second Sunrise celebrated a major milestone. They'd helped their 500 women find employment and housing. The celebration was held at a hotel ballroom, filled with graduates of the program, donors, volunteers, and supporters. The mayor was there, local business leaders, journalists. But the people Emily was most excited to see were the women themselves, the graduates who'd rebuilt their lives. Carla was there, now working as a nursing supervisor and raising her 2 kids in a stable home. Jessica, the young woman Emily had met at Hope Street 2 years ago, had just finished her bachelor's degree and was working as a social worker. There were dozens of other success stories in that room. But one person was missing, Frank. Emily had invited him, of course. She'd even arranged for him to be picked up. But he'd declined, as he always did. That's your world now, Em, he'd said. I'm proud of you, but I belong where I am. During the dinner, Emily was called to the podium to give a speech. She looked out at the crowd, at the faces of people who believed in second chances, and she felt overwhelmed with gratitude. 3 years ago, she began, I was sleeping under a highway overpass, wondering if anyone would ever see me again. I had lost everything, my job, my home, my sense of self-worth. I felt invisible. The room was silent, everyone listening intently. But I learned something during those dark months. I learned that none of us are invisible. We're all seen by someone, and sometimes all it takes is one person, one act of kindness, one moment of compassion to change everything. She looked at Maria, sitting at a front table, dabbing her eyes with a napkin. Maria gave me a job when no one else would. Dorothy gave me a place to sleep and a purpose. Frank taught me that survival isn't just enduring, it's about maintaining your humanity. And all of you, she gestured to the crowd, you believed that women who'd lost everything deserved a second chance. Emily's voice cracked with emotion. Second Sunrise isn't my program, it's ours. It belongs to every woman who refused to give up, to every volunteer who gave their time, to every donor who believed change was possible. And it belongs to the 500 women who proved that rock bottom isn't the end, it's the foundation. The room erupted in applause. People stood, and the ovations lasted for several minutes. After the event, as Emily was packing up, a young reporter approached her. Miss Carter, what's next for Second Sunrise? Emily smiled. We're expanding to 3 new cities next year, Providence, Hartford, and Portland. And we're launching a new initiative to help homeless veterans, in honor of someone very special to me. Can you tell me about that person? Emily thought of Frank, probably sitting under the overpass right now, reading one of his worn paperback novels by flashlight. His name is Frank, she said, and he taught me that heroism isn't always about grand gestures or recognition. Sometimes it's about quiet dignity, about helping others even when you're struggling yourself. The Veterans Program will be called Frank's Place. The next morning, Emily went to the overpass to find Frank and tell him about the program named in his honor. But when she arrived, Frank wasn't there. His usual spot was empty, his belongings gone. Emily's heart began to race. She asked the others if they'd seen him. "He got real sick 2 days ago," Sarah told her. "Ambulance came and took him to Mass General." Emily ran to her car and drove to the hospital, her mind spinning with worry. She found Frank in a bed in the ICU, connected to monitors and IV lines. He looked smaller somehow, frailer. When he saw her, he smiled weakly. "Hey, Frank, what happened?" "Pneumonia," he said, his voice raspy. "Been fighting it for weeks, but it finally won." "Why didn't you call me?" "Didn't want to worry you. You were busy with your fancy event." Emily pulled up a chair and took his hand carefully, mindful of the IV. "Frank, you're the most important person in my life. You saved me when I thought I couldn't be saved." "You saved yourself, Em. I just reminded you that you could." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Emily told him about the Veterans Program, about Frank's place. Tears rolled down Frank's weathered cheeks. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did. You deserve to be remembered. Your kindness, your wisdom, it matters, Frank." "I'm just an old homeless guy who couldn't get his life together." "No," Emily said firmly. "You're a teacher who lost his way and found a new purpose, helping people like me survive. You're a hero, Frank. My hero." Frank squeezed her hand weakly. "Promise me something, Em. Anything. Don't let my story end with me being homeless. Tell people I was more than that. I was a father, a teacher, a man who loved books and terrible coffee and sunrise. I had a life before this, and it was good. I promise," Emily whispered. Frank closed his eyes, exhausted. Emily stayed with him through the night, holding his hand, reminding him that he wasn't alone. Frank died 3 days later, peacefully, with Emily by his side. His funeral was small but meaningful. Emily tracked down his daughter, Rebecca, who lived in California. They hadn't spoken in 10 years. When Rebecca heard that her father had passed, she was devastated by all the time they'd lost. "I should have tried harder to find him," Rebecca sobbed. "I should have." "He loved you," Emily said gently. "He talked about you all the time. He was proud of you." "How do you know?" "Because he told me. He showed me a photo he carried in his wallet, you at your college graduation. He said it was the happiest day of his life." Rebecca clutched the photo Emily handed her, crying harder. At the funeral, Emily gave the eulogy. She spoke about Frank's kindness, his wisdom, and his impact on everyone who knew him. She read from one of his favorite books, To Kill a Mockingbird, a passage about courage. "Frank taught me that real courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being terrified and doing the right thing anyway. He was the bravest person I ever knew." After the service, Rebecca approached Emily. "Thank you for being there for my dad when I wasn't. He never stopped loving you," Emily said. "He just didn't want to be a burden. I wish I'd known he was sick. I would have come. He didn't want you to see him like that. He wanted you to remember him the way he was." Rebecca nodded, understanding. "Will you tell me about him? About these last years?" Emily and Rebecca spent hours at a nearby cafe, sharing stories about Frank. Emily told him about his humor, his love of crossword puzzles, the way he helped newcomers to the streets feel less alone. By the end of the conversation, Rebecca was smiling through her tears. "Thank you," she said. "You gave my father dignity when the world took it away. I'll never forget that." 6 months later, Emily stood in front of a newly renovated building in South Boston. Above the door, a sign read, "Frank's Place, a home for veterans." The building had been an abandoned warehouse, but with donations and volunteer labor, it had been transformed into a beautiful facility with 50 beds, a medical clinic, a job training center, and a library, because Frank had loved books. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Rebecca was there, holding her young son's hand. The mayor spoke, local veterans groups sent representatives, but the moment that mattered most was when the first veteran walked through the doors. His name was James, a Marine Corps veteran who'd been homeless for 3 years after returning from Afghanistan with PTSD. He walked slowly through the facility, touching the walls as if to make sure it was real. "This is really for us?" he asked Emily. "It's really for you," she confirmed. "You served your country. Now let us serve you." James broke down crying, and Emily held him while he sobbed, deep, wrenching sobs of relief and gratitude. By the end of the first month, Frank's place was full. By the end of the first year, they'd helped 43 veterans transition into permanent housing and employment. Emily visited every week, often bringing home-cooked meals from Maria's restaurant. She got to know each veteran by name, learned their stories, and reminded them that they mattered. One evening, a veteran named Marcus, the same Marcus who used to live under the overpass with schizophrenia, approached Emily with a painting he'd done in the art therapy program. It showed a sunrise over a city, with the words, "Every day is a new beginning," painted across the sky. "This is for you," Marcus said shyly, "because you gave us all a new beginning." Emily hung the painting in her office, where she could see it every day. 4 years after the fire that changed everything, Emily received a phone call that left her speechless. "Miss Carter, this is the White House calling. The president would like to honor you as a champion of change for your work with Second Sunrise and Frank's Place." Emily thought it was a prank at first, but it wasn't. 6 weeks later, she found herself in Washington, D.C., standing in the East Room of the White House with 11 other honorees. The president shook her hand and said, "What you've built is extraordinary. You've shown America that second chances aren't just possible, they're essential." The ceremony was broadcast on national news. Emily's story reached millions of people. Donations flooded in from across the country. Other cities reached out, asking how they could replicate the Second Sunrise model. But the moment that meant the most happened after the ceremony, when a woman approached Emily in the hallway. She was in her 60s, well-dressed, with kind eyes and a nervous smile. "Miss Carter, I'm Sarah Mitchell. I've been looking for you for a long time." Emily didn't recognize the name. "I don't think we've met," Emily said politely. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "We haven't, but 20 years ago, I was homeless in Chicago. A young woman about your age gave me $20 and told me not to give up. I never forgot her face. She looked just like you." Emily was confused. "That wasn't me. I wasn't homeless 20 years ago." "I know," Sarah said, "but you reminded me of her. And when I saw your story, it brought everything back. That woman's kindness saved my life. I used that $20 to get a bus ticket to my sister's house. She helped me get back on my feet. I went back to school, became a teacher, raised 2 kids. All because one stranger believed I was worth $20. Sarah pulled out her wallet and removed a worn $20 bill, now yellowed with age. "I've carried this for 20 years, waiting to pay it forward to someone who needed it. But after hearing your story, I realized the best way to honor that woman's gift is to give it to someone who's paying it forward every single day." She pressed the $20 into Emily's hand. "Thank you," Sarah said, "for reminding me that one act of kindness can change everything." Emily stood in the hallway of the White House, holding that worn $20 bill, and understood something profound. Her story wasn't special. It was universal. Thousands of people had similar stories of falling and rising, of strangers helping strangers, of small kindnesses creating massive ripples. She wasn't a hero. She was just one person in an endless chain of people trying to make the world a little better. A year later, a documentary filmmaker named Ava Johnson approached Emily about making a film about Second Sunrise and Frank's Place. Emily was hesitant. She'd done plenty of media appearances, but a full documentary felt invasive. "I don't want it to be about me," Emily insisted. "If you make this film, it needs to be about the women and veterans we serve. Their stories matter more than mine." "That's exactly why we want to make it," Ava said, "because you understand that this isn't about you. It's about creating a movement." Emily agreed, with conditions. The film would focus primarily on the program participants, not on her. It would show both successes and struggles, and all profits from the film would go directly to Second Sunrise and Frank's Place. Over the next year, Ava's team followed Emily and several program participants, documenting their journeys. They filmed Keisha graduating from community college. They captured Carlos, the boy Emily had saved from the fire, now 12 years old, reading a thank you letter to Emily at a program event. They interviewed Maria, Dorothy, Rebecca, and dozens of Second Sunrise graduates. But they also showed the hard parts: the women who relapsed, the veterans who struggled with PTSD, the funding challenges, the heartbreaking reality that they couldn't help everyone. The documentary, titled Second Sunrise: From Darkness to Light, premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and won the Audience Award. It was picked up by a major streaming platform and seen by millions. The impact was immediate and powerful. Churches, community groups, and individuals across the country started their own Second Sunrise programs. The model spread to 47 states. Legislators began citing the documentary in discussions about homelessness policy. But the most meaningful response came from the thousands of personal messages Emily received from people who'd been homeless or were currently homeless. One message read, "I've been living in my car for 6 months with my 2 kids. I was about to give up. Your story reminded me that this isn't the end. I called the shelter in my city. They connected me with resources. We're in transitional housing now, and I start a new job next week. Thank you for not letting me disappear." Emily read every message, cried over many of them, and responded when she could. 5 years after starting Second Sunrise, Emily did something she'd been putting off for too long. She went back to the overpass. It was early morning, the city just beginning to wake. She parked her car and walked under the highway where she'd spent those desperate months. The encampment was still there, though the faces had changed. Some people were still asleep in their sleeping bags, others were packing up their belongings for the day. Emily sat down on the curb where she used to sit with Frank, and she let herself remember. She remembered the cold, the fear, the hunger that gnawed at her constantly. She remembered the shame of asking for spare change, the exhaustion of walking miles just to find a bathroom, the loneliness that cut deeper than any physical discomfort. But she also remembered the moments of unexpected kindness. Jess sneaking her coffee, the librarian who never made her feel unwelcome, Frank teaching her how to survive, Dorothy giving her a chance. A young woman approached her cautiously. She was probably in her 20s, thin and tired looking. "Are you okay?" the woman asked. Emily smiled. "Yes, I used to live here. I was just remembering." The woman looked surprised. "You were homeless?" "For 4 months. It was the hardest time of my life." The woman sat down beside her. "I've been out here for 2 months. I keep thinking it's going to get easier, but it doesn't." "It doesn't get easier," Emily said gently, "but you get stronger, and you don't have to do it alone. Emily pulled out a card for Second Sunrise in Frank's place. "This is my program. We help women and veterans get back on their feet. Come see us today. We'll get you connected to resources, housing assistance, job training, whatever you need." The woman took the card, staring at it like it was a winning lottery ticket. "Is this real?" "It's real, I promise." "Why are you helping me? You don't even know me." Emily thought of Frank, of Dorothy, of Maria, of all the strangers who'd helped her when they didn't have to. "Because someone helped me once, and now it's my turn to help you." That same year, Emily got married. His name was David, the journalist who'd written her first article. After the article was published, they'd stayed in touch as friends. He'd covered Second Sunrise's growth, attended events, and become one of Emily's closest confidants. Their friendship slowly evolved into something more. He made her laugh. He understood her work. He'd seen her at her lowest and never treated her with pity, only respect. He proposed at Hope Street Shelter during the Christmas dinner Emily volunteered at every year. He got down on one knee in front of Dorothy, Maria, 50 shelter residents, and a room full of volunteers. "Emily Carter, you are the strongest, kindest, most inspiring person I've ever met. Will you marry me?" Emily laughed and cried at the same time. "Yes!" The wedding was simple and beautiful, held in the community room at Frank's place. Maria catered it. The guests were a mix of family, friends, Second Sunrise graduates, and shelter residents, the people who'd walked beside Emily through every step of her journey. Dorothy officiated, having gotten ordained online specifically for the occasion. "Emily and David," Dorothy said during the ceremony, "you both understand that love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, even when things are hard. It's about seeing each other's scars and saying, 'You're beautiful anyway.'" When Emily and David exchanged vows, Emily added something unscripted. "David, you loved me when I was broken. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. But more than that, you taught me that my past doesn't define me. It's just part of my story. Thank you for wanting to write the next chapters with me." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. At the reception, Carlos, now a teenager, gave a toast that brought everyone to tears. "When I was 6 years old, Emily ran into a burning building to save me. She didn't know me. She had every reason to run the other way. But she didn't. She saved my life. And then she spent the rest of her life saving other people too. Emily, you're my hero. You'll always be my hero." Emily hugged him tightly, this boy who'd become like a son to her. 7 years after starting Second Sunrise, Emily made a decision that surprised everyone. She stepped down as executive director. "I'm not leaving," she explained at the board meeting. "I'm transitioning. It's time for new leadership, new ideas, new energy." The board appointed Jessica, the young woman Emily had met at Hope Street years ago, who'd gone on to become a social worker, as the new executive director. Emily stayed on as founder and board chair, but she spent less time in the office and more time doing what she loved, working directly with people. She started teaching a weekly class at Second Sunrise called Your Story Matters, where participants wrote and shared their stories. Many of them had never put their experiences into words before, and the healing that came from that process was profound. She also started a mentorship program, pairing Second Sunrise graduates with women who were just entering the program. The peer support proved invaluable. Women helping women, people who understood because they'd lived it. On her 42nd birthday, Emily received an unexpected gift, a letter from her mother. Emily hadn't heard from her mother in 8 years. She'd assumed their relationship was permanently broken. But here was this letter, forwarded through Second Sunrise's office. "Dear Emily, I saw the documentary about your work. I sat in my living room and cried for 2 hours. I had no idea what you'd been through. I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you when you needed me most. I've made so many mistakes as a mother. I left you when you were young, chose my own happiness over your stability, and disconnected when you needed family most. I will regret those choices for the rest of my life. But watching that documentary, I realized something. You turned your pain into purpose. You became an extraordinary woman, and you did it without me. I'm so proud of you, Emily, even if I didn't earn the right to be. If you're willing, I'd like to see you. No expectations, no demands. I just want you to know that I love you and I'm sorry. Mom. Emily read the letter 5 times, emotions warring inside her. Anger, grief, longing, and something that felt like forgiveness beginning to take root. She called her mother that night. The conversation was awkward at first, both of them crying, both of them apologizing. But by the end, they'd made plans to meet. 3 weeks later, Emily's mother flew to Boston. They met at a quiet cafe, and for 4 hours, they talked, really talked, for the first time in years. Emily's mother listened to the full story of her homelessness, her survival, and her recovery. She apologized repeatedly, and Emily finally said, "Mom, I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve to let go of the anger." They hugged, both crying, and Emily felt something heavy lift from her shoulders. Her mother stayed in Boston for a week, meeting David, touring Second Sunrise and Frank's Place, and volunteering at Hope Street. "I want to be part of your life again," her mother said on her last day. "If you'll let me." "I'd like that," Emily said. 10 years after that rainy November night when Emily first became homeless, Second Sunrise celebrated its anniversary. The organization had grown beyond Emily's wildest dreams. 1,847 women had graduated from the program. 623 veterans had been housed and employed through Frank's Place. The model had been replicated in 127 cities across all 50 states. A national advocacy coalition had formed, pushing for policy changes. Homelessness rates in Boston had dropped 23% since the program began. But the numbers, while impressive, weren't what mattered most to Emily. What mattered were the individual lives. The mothers who'd reunited with their children, the veterans who'd found peace, the women who discovered they were stronger than they'd ever imagined. At the anniversary gala, Emily stood on stage for what she'd decided would be her last major public speech. 10 years ago, she began, "I was nobody. I was invisible, forgotten, disposable. Society had decided I didn't matter, and for a while, I believed it." She paused, looking out at the crowd of over 500 people, donors, graduates, volunteers, supporters. But I was wrong. I did matter, not because of what I achieved or who I became, but simply because I existed. Every person matters. Every story counts. Every life has value. She pointed to the audience. "You all taught me that. Frank taught me that by giving me his blanket on a freezing night. Dorothy taught me that by giving me purpose when I had none. Maria taught me that by giving me a job when no one else would. And all of you," her voice broke with emotion, "you taught me that by showing up, by caring, by refusing to let people disappear." Emily pulled out a piece of paper, her original journal entry from her first night on the streets, the one where she'd promised to make sure no one felt invisible. "I made this promise 10 years ago, when I had nothing. And somehow, impossibly, I kept it. But not alone. Never alone. We kept it together." She held up the paper. This is where it all started, with one promise, one choice to survive, one belief that tomorrow could be better than today. And that's what I want you to remember. Change starts with one person, one moment, one choice. The standing ovation lasted for 5 minutes. After the event, Emily found a quiet corner and called Jessica, who was managing the shelter for the evening. "How's everything going?" "Perfect," Jessica said. Oh, and Emily, there's a young woman here. First night, she's terrified. She reminds me of me when we first met. Tell her I'll be there in 20 minutes, Emily said. You don't have to. It's your anniversary celebration. Exactly, Emily said. This is how I want to celebrate, by doing the work. She found David, explained where she was going, and he smiled. Want company? Always. Together, they drove to Hope Street Shelter. Emily walked into the shelter and saw her, a young woman, maybe 27, sitting in the corner with everything she owned in a garbage bag. She had that look Emily recognized instantly. The fear, the shame, the desperate hope that maybe, somehow, things could get better. Emily sat down beside her, and the young woman looked up with red, swollen eyes. First time here? Emily asked gently. The woman nodded. My name is Emily. What's yours? Rachel. Hi, Rachel. I know you're scared. I know you feel like your life is over, but I promise you, it's not. How do you know? Emily smiled. Because I used to sit exactly where you're sitting. 10 years ago, I was homeless, terrified, and convinced I'd never find my way back. But I did. And so will you. Rachel looked at her with a mixture of disbelief and fragile hope. Really? Really. And I'm going to help you. We all are. Emily gestured around the shelter, at the volunteers, the staff, the other residents who'd once been where Rachel was now. You're not alone, Rachel. You're part of a community now. We're going to walk this journey with you, one step at a time. Tears streamed down Rachel's face. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just don't give up. Promise me you won't give up. Rachel nodded. I promise. Emily stayed with her for 2 hours, talking about resources, housing programs, job training, and hope. By the time Emily left, Rachel was smiling, just a little, but it was a start. Outside, David was waiting by the car. How'd it go? She's going to be okay, Emily said. It'll take time, but she's strong. She just doesn't know it yet. They drove home through the quiet Boston streets, past the harbor where Emily used to sit and cry, past the overpass where Frank had taught her how to survive, past the restaurant where Maria had given her a second chance. At a red light, David reached over and took Emily's hand. You know what I love about you? What? You never stopped being that woman under the bridge. You got successful, got recognition, got everything you lost back and more. But you never forgot where you came from. You never stopped caring about the people everyone else forgets. Emily squeezed his hand. How could I forget? They're me. They're all me. When they got home, Emily opened her laptop and wrote one final blog post for Second Sunrise's website. My name is Emily Carter, and 10 years ago, I was homeless. I'm writing this tonight after meeting a young woman named Rachel who was where I was a decade ago, scared, lost, and wondering if she'll survive. I want Rachel and everyone like her to know something. You will survive. Not because the world suddenly becomes kind, but because you are stronger than you know, and because you're not alone. There are people who care, people who will help, people who understand that we're all one bad month, one medical crisis, one lost job away from where you are now. The only difference between me and someone who's never experienced homelessness is luck. That's it. So if you're reading this and you're struggling, please remember, your past does not define you. Your circumstances do not determine your worth. And your story is not over. Every sunrise is a second chance. Keep going. The world still needs you. Love, Emily. She posted it, closed her laptop, and went to bed. That night, Emily dreamed of Frank. In the dream, they were sitting under the overpass, drinking terrible coffee and watching the sunrise. "You did good, Em," Frank said in the dream. "I tried to honor you," Emily replied. Frank smiled. "You didn't just honor me. You honored everyone who's ever fallen and gotten back up. You reminded the world that we're all human. That's more than I could ever ask for." The dream faded, and Emily woke to sunlight streaming through her window. She got up, made coffee, and stood on her balcony watching the city wake up. Somewhere out there, Rachel was facing her first full day at the shelter. Somewhere out there, thousands of people were fighting battles no one could see. But they weren't alone. Because of people like Frank, like Dorothy, like Maria, like Emily, and like the countless others who chose compassion over indifference, there was hope. And hope, Emily had learned, was the most powerful force in the world. She raised her coffee cup to the sunrise and whispered, "Thank you," for the life she'd lost and found again, for the people who'd helped her survive, for the privilege of helping others do the same, and for every single sunrise she'd lived to see. This story is dedicated to everyone who has ever felt invisible, who has ever struggled, who has ever wondered if they matter. You do. You always have. You always will. Your story isn't over. Keep writing it. Every sunrise is a second chance.